Hello, Chitty Chats with Git Cats number, what's this? Number 45, I do believe. And folks, I need to point out something. I've been doing these live to YouTube for a little while now, and I've had a few people saying, man, YouTube's cool and all, but we'd really like to be able to listen to these at work on the podcast sites. So I've just started uploading all my old episodes up to all the usual places like iTunes, all the Apple podcasts and Spotify, that kind of thing. I think I've uploaded about 20 of them now, and this is number 45. So I've still got a bit to go. So if you have just found me by listening to the podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you went over to my YouTube page and subscribe there and hit the like button, all that kind of stuff, because all that stuff matters. And vice versa, if you're somebody who likes to watch these on my YouTube but can't have access to that, you'd rather just have your phone in your pocket and listen to them because they can go for a while, you can find me on those places. But there's somebody at my door. Ding dong. Who have I got? Let's have a look. It is Danny Gomez. Hey Danny, how are you, man?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Danny is the guitar player for the We Will Rock You show, the Queen musical, and also a designer for Orange Amplifier, and has his own branch, OMEC, over there. I hope I got all that right. If not, I'm sure he's going to clarify it for me. But Danny, whereabouts are you, mate?
Well, we had a crazy situation here in Spain, so I locked down in my studio, tried to keep creative and do this kind of thing as usual as possible, and chat with friends and talk about gear, about music, about my career, about your career. And I think that is the best that we can do with this kind of situation. So Absolutely. Keep creative and be connected with friends.
Yep. And this is great, man. I've made friends all around the world doing this, because I might be on the Gold Coast in Australia, but man, I can jump on here. It's actually a Friday night here, and what better way to spend my Friday night than to chatting to like-minded people from around the world?
I agree.
Danny, I'm going to jump in and start off by asking what I ask most people, and that is, how did you get the guitar bug, mate? How did you start playing guitar?
Okay, I think that it was around 28 years, something like that. Yeah, 28 years.
28 years.
28 years. Again, yeah. I spent the most of my life with a guitar around, so I feel quite old right now. I'm 42 right now. So I found Queen music, and I decided I wanted to be Brian May. Not just play Queen. I wanted to be Brian May, but being the position taken, I decided to go to be second best. That was my. I only want to play that music. In my mind, I decided, okay, I want to play this thing, but I never tried. So I decided I wanted to play guitar. I decided I wanted to play that music, but I never tried. So I started playing the usual stuff and going better and better, and I started playing with different like artists, singer-songwriters, bands, and everything. But I always keep that Queen thing in my mind, because it was like the forbidden music. It's like you can only hear that thing, it can inspire you in a way, but you're not worth to play this Olympus music. So it was it was my goal, but at the same time, it was my chorus. I couldn't play that thing. I never played a Queen song until 2003. So before that, I was playing with artists, doing well, in fact, or cover bands, or touring in Latin America or wherever, but without playing a Queen song. Never. So in 2003, while I was on tour in Mexico, I missed the We Will Rock You musical show castings in Madrid. They started the production in London the year before, and they moved that to Madrid. And when I came back, my best friend ever, my Uber friend, my neighborhood, my pal, say, you know what? They picked me for the We Will Rock You show. I say, no way, mate. I'm super happy for you. I will go to the theater and see you, and I will cry with you. No, but I need a cover. I need someone to cover me when I couldn't do the show. Would you mind to do that? I say, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I can do that. I can do that. I don't know how, but I can do that. So I had to learn from 0 Queen songs to 25 songs in a week or so.
Wow, that's a lot of
Yeah.
songs to learn, particularly something like Brian May, which is quite intricate.
It's not just about the playing, that I was, I'd say, 95% capable of playing that stuff. But they asked me, you can read? And I say, of course I can read, but nobody means solfeggio. So I can read, yeah, I can read. But I couldn't read any music. So I had to prepare 25 songs by ear, trying to find what was my guitar, because there were 2 guitar players at the same time in the show.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out what was my part and prepare everything. But I did that. And it started my We Will Rock You trip from being a cover to ending in 2008 as a main guitar player. So it took some time, it evolved. I did some other works in the middle, but that was my goal. So 12 years ago, we did the last show of the We Will Rock You musical in Madrid. And this year it was supposed to come back to Madrid. So maybe it happens later this year, maybe it happens the next one, but We Will Rock You will be here in Spain again. And as far as I know, I'll be there rocking you all if you come to see us.
Very cool. Very cool. Man, to learn, how many did you say? 20, 25 songs in a week?
25, yeah, more or less, yeah.
What did you use? Was there any software that you used in particular to loop things or to slow things down? Because I know how I learned all the stuff. I'm interested how you do it.
It was 17 years ago. So 17 years ago, there was not the same tech that we have now. I had no access to something to slow down the thing. I got the CD, and the guitars were well panned in the mix. So I turned one speaker out, and I used the other to figure out my part, and I play it and play it and play it over the thing day and night until I got it. That's it. There was no chance to slow down the thing because it was a CD, and I had no chance to slow down a CD because you cannot put the CD moving slower than it should. It's not a vinyl, it's not a cassette. So
yeah.
I was condemned. I only had that CD and the CD player. Play, stop, rewind, play, stop, play, stop.
Wow. Okay. I guess I was lucky when I learned all the parts of the Brian May parts that there was a couple of things that you probably didn't have access to. One was a piece of software called Transcribe that is.
I know that.
You know that one? Yeah. So you're able to slow things.
Now.
You know,
I know that one.
Yeah. I would slow things down. No, this was before I had Transcribe. I used Logic, and I would slow things down in Logic and adjust the pitch, because it became obvious to me that Queen were the type of band that, going back to tape days, after they'd recorded, would adjust the pitch and go, no, it's too slow. Let's speed up the tape just a little. Because I noticed that the pitch discrepancies. Did that throw you out a little bit, that some songs weren't quite concert pitch?
There are 2 or 3 of them that is clearly evident, like A Hammer to Fall or Another One Bites the Dust or 7 Seas of Rye, that are clearly in between. It's like in between, just there, like an old Van Halen record, this type of stuff.
Yeah. Tell you what else wasn't around back then for you would have been YouTube with just the isolated guitar tracks. That was a big thing for me to be able to learn the parts. Was you can basically go onto YouTube now and put in Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, isolated guitar, and you'll find it.
Yeah, or even having the multi-track sessions. Now I have all the multi-track sessions, so if I need something, I only have to go there. Or when I prepare the backing music, when we do the Queen show that we produce with A Night at the Opera, that is the show that we keep on running. We did Richie Blackmore's Rainbow singer, Ronnie Romero, is one of my best friends. And when we play that A Night at the Opera shows, imagine that a big voice like Ronnie singing Queen.
Wow.
It's Yeah, it's quite a situation. So when I was preparing all the pre-recorded music that we use in that shows, mainly the pianos and the synths and everything, I moved into the original recordings to get the idea and reproduce the piano, reproduce the synths, or get the sounds of the little bells and whistles.
Yep.
It's super useful to have that stuff right now, but back to the day, 17 years ago, there was nothing like that. Everything was like mysterious in a way,
Yeah.
or even having a proper replica, because the Brian May guitars there were burns at the day. There was something super recent. It was like I managed to get one, and we had 2 or 3 more of them at the show, but it was quite strange gear to have. So if you were in a Queen tribute show, you maybe were doing it with an SG guitar or Les Paul guitar, something similar but not so similar. Yeah. And now we have access to amazing replicas and amazing pieces of gear that make you sound better. We were talking before connecting live right now about using the right gear or not to do the kind of stuff. I came with my own things, my own designs and everything to be able to have this tone. But now you can go for the real deal. You can access the very same gear that Brian used right now, the same modded amps, the same treble boosters, even the same guitars in a way.
Yep. I think I mentioned to you off camera that Greg Fryer actually sent me prototypes of treble boosters to me to check out before he'd send them to Brian to. So you talk about using the actual gear.
Yep.
Man, it doesn't get much closer than that. Speaking of gear, when you first started doing it, what type of gear were you using when you started with the show?
Well, at the We Were Rocky show, the good thing is that being the first franchise of the original London one, they brought all the stuff from the UK. Every little detail, whatever was from the UK. So we got some Barnes guitars, we got some Vox AC30s, we got some treble boosters. I think that were Pete Cornish ones. Mm-hmm. Real Pete Cornish treble boosters for the show. It was crazy. And a couple of good Boss pedals for chorus, and line selection and tuning and everything, and a loaded acoustic guitar, and that was all. But we got full volume blasting Vox AC30s, isolated under a stair, absolutely far from us.
Wow.
But you can, it's like full volume AC30.
Well, that's how he does it, and man.
Exactly. Yeah, when Brian used to came to the show, he had a Vox AC30 full volume at the stage, and singers couldn't even get the note. It was like that volume that it can blast your head.
Yeah.
It's like clean but loud. It's like AC/DC tone. It's not very distorted. It's loud.
Yeah. Cool.
This kind of thing.
Cool. I mean, an AC30 is a very loud amplifier, and to know that he absolutely dimed them and then used the treble booster. I did try the treble booster on several other amps. The Egnator Tweaker springs to mind. That isn't really a high gain amp, but you put that treble booster in front of it, and man, that does some cool things to it. It really does.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an underrated pedal. The treble booster, because it looks like old and vintage oriented thing, but it's an amazing piece of gear. Gives your amps more gain, obviously, more dynamics, more control. You can do whatever you want with the volume knob, and you're good to go. It's like you don't need a 2-channel amp anymore, or I don't need it. It's like probably is because I'm absolutely into Queen music. It is my favorite tone ever, so I'm in heaven with this kind of gear. But when I had the opportunity to use my Brian May related gear to record for someone else, it's like, okay, if you want a Les Paul and a Marshall stack, I'm good with that. I bring that stuff, I connect, and I record that. But if you want the ultimate tone, and if 99% of the time is why you call me, is like you call me because you want that Brian May tone, but you cannot afford Brian May.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I need these stuff. I need the harmonies. I need the solo thing. I need some chordal thing. I need the clean, almost crunchy thing. on a Brian May mood, but I don't have Brian May. It's like, okay, but I have this guy that can do the trick for me. So
Yep.
if you call me 99% of the time, you want me with the red special, with the treble booster, with the Box A30, or my signature preamp or something like that.
Okay. Did you use the coin?
Yep.
Yep. I did too. Right there.
Exactly. I have one of these from the Back to the Light tour. That was my very first show. The Back to the Light tour in Madrid in 1993, I think, was my first show. So I got one of that coins with the face and the Back to the Light inscription. And I decided to keep that one for the ultimate guitar. So next year I will receive a new red special, a relic one with all the details. And I kept that coin from 1993 for that guitar.
Wow. Do you know what the closest to the old, it's a sixpence, isn't it, that he uses? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
English sixpence? Which
Yep.
went out of circulation a long time ago. And he makes his own now. He has his own minted, I believe, to get that sound and the serrated edge. Do you know what the closest coin in the world to the old English sixpence is?
What?
Australian 5-cent piece.
No way.
Yep. So I had a friend, my friend Jean, gave me a bag full of 5-cent pieces that her father had collected, and she hadn't taken to the bank, and I had just this limitless supply of them. And funny thing is, like the last show I ever did with the Queen show, we played with a big festival, and the headlining act was an Australian group called Icehouse, and they were really big in the 80s here. And they sort of gotten back together in recent years, and we played with them. And the singer cornered me after the show and said to me, "Man, I'm just the biggest Brian May fan. You were using the coins." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was." And he goes, "I know, because I was looking around everywhere and you had coins stashed everywhere, because I would drop them a lot. So I'd have them over there. Whoop. And he said while they were playing, he's nudging the guys in the band and saying, look. And they didn't know what he was talking about. But yeah, it was quite interesting to find out he was such a big fan of Brian May and asked to use my guitar and everything and have a bit of a play. But that coin is such a big part of the sound. Would you agree?
It is. Is that especially for the clean stuff and the crunch stuff, where you can use the serrated edge to get kind of chorus thing. If you play under pressure, you need this.
Yes.
Yes. You need this thing. If you're playing full gain mode or you're playing solo, it's great because it will never bend like a pig. So it's great for the attack. It's great for the rake. It's great for the pre-bend. It's great for many, many things. But where it shines, in my opinion, is for the clean stuff that takes a whole new level. It's like to have really an extra chorus level.
Yeah. So I can hear it when I listen to Queen, especially in the cleaner stuff where he's wound back his volume. We Are the Champions, when the guitar first comes in, you can hear that. I call it a chirp. It's just a little sound that happens. And you need to use the coin to get his sound, man. And
you need.
Yeah.
But the first time that you switch the pick for the coin, it's quite strange. You need some time to accommodate in a way, and you won't be using the coin with any other guitar that is not the red special. So it's like, okay, I use picks for everything, but a coin for the red special. So it's strange. It's like there are things, or you use the treble booster for the red special, but you use a regular booster or an overdrive for a Les Paul or my Strumberg or whatever.
Yep.
So there are certain things that I only use with the red special.
Yep. I always found the switching, Brian's little dip switches, quite awkward, and I would always just leave it. I've read that he said he would use the bridge and middle pickup both on at the same time, 80% of the time, and that's what I use most of the time. I tried using the setting of the Bohemian Rhapsody setting, one of the pickups out of phase, and it just sounded terrible in my hands.
Neck and middle with any of them out of phase.
Out of phase, yeah.
I think that Brian May settings are great for the studio, are great, and it's useful in the production situation or a mix situation to place guitars in different places without the need of move the level or the EQ or whatever.
Yep.
But in a live situation, maybe you're kicking the PA tech in the balls. It's like you change the pickup and suddenly it's in another spot or different level or frequency, you're kicking that guy in the balls. So I tend 99% to keep the bridge and middle. And if I need more treble, more bass, or more whatever, I do that with my hands.
Yeah.
Like applying more palm muting or whatever, or moving the coin to a different part of the string to get more trebly around the bridge, or playing with my finger over the fretboard to get more body or whatever. But I don't try to switch parts and switch pickups. So it's quite a complex thing. Maybe you're doing tons of different stuff. It's like, and you know that if at the musical show we were 2 guitar players to play the exact thing because it was more record oriented in a way. In a live situation, if you're doing Brian live, doing Queen live, it's so elastical. You can do different things. But if you want to play, let's say, I don't know, A Kind of Magic, the A Kind of Magic solo never was played like on the record live by Brian. Never, because it was a different song. It was a rock and roll thing. So it's more, it's a rock and roll thing. You can play a rock and roll fills all over the way and play some licks of the original solo, you're good to go. But imagine if you had to play something that 2 guitar players playing live every night, like the kind of magic solo, everything panic.
Yep.
And you have to play everything by yourself, being just one guitar player. At the same time, you have to switch 2 or 3 pickups in and out of phase. There are many things to do. So it's like, okay, keep on focusing, playing the music with the right attitude. Otherwise, you will be a scientist trying to do everything into perfection.
Yeah.
I will keep the regular setting. I will do my best. I will focus to play that crazy stuff with the coin, in style, with the right attitude, looking good on stage. I think that's far from enough for that take. If you have to switch pickups and everything, it's a sure disaster to me.
Were you using the Optima Gold strings?
I use them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They take a long time to stretch in.
Yeah. After that, they will keep that way forever.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Because I would put on a set and I'd stretch them like I normally would. And I'm like, man, they're not stretching in. That's the secret. It just takes a little bit longer, huh?
It takes a little bit longer. After that, it's like they have a curve. It's like, okay, they're super thingy at the first 2 days. They're too thingy. Just too chimney is like over treble string. But after that, they stabilize and they keep that way forever after they broke. They have a problem that is the 4th string. This is a nightmare because they tend to break the 4th string. That is a strange string to break. But you have to keep 1 or 2 extra 4th strings for your sets.
Uh-huh.
It's a course.
Yeah, yeah. When you say 4th string, is that like your D string? You're saying 4th from that? Yeah. That's the string I break most of the time anyway. D and A, just the way I hit. It's always D and A's. Yeah.
Yeah, because you hit hard.
I do hit hard. I used to have a permanent scab on my finger from where I'd hit it.
Really?
Yeah, for many years.
I play uber soft. It's like I play that soft that I usually, when the coin falls from my hand, is because it's too soft. It's not like me playing this way and the coin flying. No, it's like I missed the coin.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I was surprised. I thought playing with a coin would really dig through the strings and break a lot, but I didn't break a lot of strings.
No,
it's strange. You'd think metal on metal would cut through, but no, not at all. Did you use a wireless?
I use that in the past. It depends. It's like if we're talking about a big production and the stage requires me to run all over the place, I will do that. I will use pretty whatever. It's like Line 6 is good, Sennheiser is good, Shure is good. I have different, but I don't have wireless units here with me or in my warehouse or wherever. It's like if production needs me to go wireless, it's like, okay, get wherever fits you with the frequencies or the cities or the countries that we will be visiting, because you never know. You can have an amazing wireless pack that works in Europe and you go to the United States and suddenly the frequency that you want to use is the police or the FBI. So it's like, if you want me to go wireless, this is my guitar and this is my pedal board. Put whatever you want in the middle and I will make it sound great.
Yeah. The reason I asked about the wireless is with the treble boosters, it needs to be the very first thing in the chain.
Yes, sir.
For the volume, for it to work with the volume rolling down. And so
yes.
I used to have mine. Brian has custom ones made for his strap. Mine was the floor pedal version, but I had that strapped onto my guitar strap.
No way. I really love when I saw people doing that thing, because it really works, obviously. But it was so fun to see. It's like, imagine someone playing the guitar with a metal zone on his strap.
Yep. That's essentially what it was. I had a pedal on my back, and the wireless transmitter as well. This was before I got the other Line 6 one that just plugs directly into your output jack. And it was quite heavy to have all that. I went as far, like, you didn't dress up and try and look like Brian or anything like that. That was my thing.
I never did that, but as mentioned, I really respect the people that do that. It's not my thing, but I really admire that and the level of detail that people put in that dress and costumes and even the gear. I really respect that.
I watched all the videos to get the moves. I had to raise my guitar. I'm quite tall. I'm almost 6'3", and I used to wear my guitar really low all my life, and I had to raise the height of it to get it the same height as Brian and learn all the stances and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's only recently that I realized that a big part of some of the troubles I was having in my shoulder and thing was because I raised and I had to hold my arm up high rather than just let it fall down to where it used to fall. Amplitube, the Brian May pack.
Okay.
I recently got a hold of that and I was blown away at
it is good, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
It is good.
I just released a cover of Joe Satriani, Always With Me, Always With You, that I did.
Oh, wow.
And I used the new Satriani pack. And I recorded it before I had the pack, knowing it was coming out for IK Multimedia. And when they sent me the reviewer copy and I pressed play and used the preset, it was fuck me, that sounds exactly like it. It was amazing. And the Queen stuff, I went to have a look at that. And then I saw that you'd done some playing for it, right?
Yeah, it's like the last NAMM show. I had the idea. It was a crazy idea of putting together Brian May guitars and IK Multimedia to release the Amplitude Brian May software. So they contact me, I contact them. We started chatting. It was like I had to be there, working with Orange and OMEC and doing my own stuff. What if we release this thing with a proper guitar, with amazing original backing tracks, and do something special? I say, okay, we're all in when we prepare something great for the NAMM show. So I think that the full video is on YouTube at the IK Multimedia channel, where I explain every little detail with a big screen. I really enjoyed software. I really use it, especially the Tiki Amp, because it's something that is overcomplicated to have a real Tiki Amp microphone with you. So it's super useful. I really like the effects, and I really like the cabinet emulation of the preamp. I'm more into the analog stuff, let's say that a real treble booster and a real Box AC30 preamp, or my own signature one. But yeah, give me a sec. This is the treble booster that is replicated digitally on the software. These very units, like this. So you have this pedal on your software and it sounds great. But if you try the original one in front of the software without the treble booster emulation, it sounds 1,000 times better. Why? Because to replicate a treble booster digitally is not replicating an overdrive. It makes more noise, is different. So in my experience, and this is only my experience, to use the software with a real treble booster in front of that make a huge difference. Again, if you use a treble booster and an analog preamp, so let's say this combo, if you use this treble booster and analog preamp, and you use the cabinet emulation and the effects, it's even better.
Wow.
So whatever, it has, for example, it has a red special emulator in case you don't have a red special. That is uber useful if you don't have a red special. But if you have a red special, or several, in my case, you don't need this virtual pedal. If you have a real treble booster, you don't need this virtual pedal. If you have a preamp, you don't need this thing. And I keep the software, not just Amplitude Primate, that is great as it is, even if I don't use it at all, every little part of it. Like the same that I don't use the noise gate or the whatever. I try to use software, integrating it with my analog path. That is why I created the OMEC teleport. We can go deeper in this later if you want, but I needed a door to go to the digital domain and back to enroll digital software with my analog stuff, because there are some things that only work for me in analog. Even having a virtual representation, even having a virtual alternative, I tend to keep things easy. It's like, okay, if I take this and move this knob, here sounds great, I can leave this and forget forever. But in software, you need a preset, you need to recall the whole preset with that. Oh, no. For my work, I use analog booster, analog preamp, and the OMEC teleport to go into the software. And if I need virtual cabinets, I will open in the software. If I need digital effects, I will get in the software or wherever. That way I can travel the world with a board that's this big.
Wow.
4 pedals.
Yep.
That's it.
Very cool. Very cool. I never thought of that. And that does make perfect sense for the OMEC teleport to be used in that situation. I'll get to that in a bit, because that is jumping a bit from the whole Brian May thing, because we've got UK Foo Fighters in the house watching, and they want to know, just watched Danny jamming with Brian online in April 2020. How did that happen? Hey Jay, good to see you, man.
Hey mate. It was quite a happy accident. It's like during lockdown, Brian started sharing his tracks, playing in isolation. And we had this crazy idea, my friend Chris, the drummer on that track, and I were saying, okay, we wanted to be the best, being the first. It's like there was no many people doing that kind of stuff. And we saw the Hammer to Fall track, say, it was almost we click. It was like good timing, and we say, okay, we can do that. We can call a bass player. We can play over that with drum, and we can constructing everything. So it looks like live, but we did that remotely, one at a time. So it went very well. That video went viral, and went, I don't know, 250,000 views in YouTube, and at the CBS and New Zealand news. So it was like boom, and suddenly everybody was doing this kind of stuff. So we were bored. We did that. We did 2 or 3 more songs for fun with friends, with Darren Reeves from the Queen Extravaganza. We invited more and more friends like Mick Ayesa, one of the original Galileos too, from New York, and we started to collaborate with Alirio Neto from the Queen Extravaganza too. So we were adding more fans and friends and people to enjoy during lockdown. And after that, and knowing that Brian was suffering after he suffered some from pain in his back, and he had some little heart attack. So we decided, okay, we need to go higher. We need to do better. We need to put something together to bring him some joy, some real joy, something that nobody did before. So Chris and I started talking about the Brian May Band, how we love, like my favorite performance of Brian May, but for Chris was Cozy Powell. So, okay, we need to do something involving Brian May and Cozy Powell that bring him some joy. Okay. So we came with this Driven by You thing, and we got the phone and started calling people. We need to do this, calling people, more friends, more singers, that we were rocky stuff. We got Carrie Ellis, that is amazing singer, and Brian's friend. We got Ariel, we got the Queen Extravaganza guys, we got Queen Musics, all the musicians that toured with Roger and Brian, so it's Spike Edney, Neil Fairclough, and Tyler Warren. We got the original Brian May Band, that was Spike Edney again, the legendary keyboard player for Queen, Jamie Moses, and the bass player that recorded the original track too. There was Neil Murray, that the Brian May Band, Whitesnake, Gary Moore. So we put all these together to create a Driven by You track for him as a surprise. Nobody knew anything, and even nobody see it finished until it was finished. We sent like half-baked backing tracks to keep the people like, okay, it will be great. Well, maybe. So nobody knew whoever was involved, the full list until the very end, and it was bang. I sent that to Brian, and he was almost in tears. So
wow.
Yeah, he said, now I'm a happy man because I had the chance of feel how it's to die and go back to see your funeral. It's like now you see how the people love you, how the people enjoyed your music in a way. So that were some of the most exciting days of my life. I think that day, and when I recorded with Brian in 2006, and I received his tracks, and I played that together, my Pro Tools, and I saw, oh my God, he played in my gaps. So as we sent him a full version with everything but the solo, and a version with no guitars to feel free to play. That's an old story, but we recorded Too Much Love Will Kill You in Spanish with Brian.
Wow.
And he played in my gaps and harmonized my guitar. So I think that two moments alone are worth for my whole career. It's like to record with Brian and to record for Brian were the absolute top.
Man, after hearing that your whole inspiration of wanting to get into playing guitar was Brian May, and to actually arrive at that would just be amazing.
I promise you that. It's like, it's Brian May here at home. It's like, it's Uncle Brian. It's like, my kids know who Brian May is from the very beginning. And I've been inspired by him in a lot of levels, like on a personal level, on a musician level, and as a designer too. It's like, when I read about his guitar with his dad, I said, okay, I want to do something similar. I'm horrible with good, but I need to do something with effects or whatever, and keep me with that Renaissance man. I want to do things. So I think that he's half guilty of this crazy activity in my mind regularly. It's like, as you said, it's like I'm a performer, I'm an artist, I'm a touring musician. I did the We Will Rock show. I work with companies. I do product demos. I do many things. So I think that is basically Brian May's spirit in a way.
Wow. So Jay's just commented in the comments there that he kind of knows how that feels, because he, being the frontman of UK Foo Fighters, actually got to get up and play with the Foo Fighters at one stage.
Wow.
And yeah, I've seen the footage of that online, and wow, it'd just be mind blowing. Like when I started in the Queen show, I wasn't a Queen fan. It was just that they needed a guitar player. And somebody made the joke of, oh, Rick's tall and skinny. He'd probably look like Brian with the wig on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when I learnt the songs, like I said, I used Logic to slow everything down and then gradually speed it up. So when I learnt it, I was also learning the vibrato slow. And then as it went up in tempo, my vibrato increased. And after I left, I had the sound guy that was with them afterwards stayed in contact. He said, man, they've had a few guys try and replace you, but you've just nailed the feel and the vibrato and everything, just like Brian. Why can't the other guys do it? I said, that's because I learned it slowed down and sped it up to get all those nuances.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It's like to feel someone else's space, in a way, boots, makes a lot of work. It's not just to learn the song, especially with someone that is the anti-guitar hero. It's like he's not pretending to do nothing, and he was both the best guitarist of all times. Yeah, and I'm sure that he's not aware or worried about that list or whatever. He probably liked it a lot, but it's more about the meaning. Like I think that was Jeff Beck that some time ago said, it's like he's the guitar player for the people, and everybody wants to play his riffs and to play his solos, so because they're delicate, they're lovely, they're easy in a way. You see that it's not over complicated. It's more complicated, the harmonies stuff and the studio work, but you can enjoy Hammer to Fall in 2 or 3 or 4 different levels. Like you can play the riff, play with the song, you can play the riff with the right inversions, because you can play just the riff with A and D and wherever. So you can play the camp version, the riff version, a little bit around the riff and the solo stuff, and you can go the deeper level with the right stuff and the right details and slowing down the thing. So I don't see people playing, with all respect and loving the guy, I don't see people playing Jeff Beck stuff on the camp version or the middle version. You play 100% or you don't play that at all.
Yeah.
That's it. I can see people enjoying the Rolling Stones in the camp version, but I don't see the people enjoying the Rolling Stones and the 100% little detail, little inversion. It's not for the people, it's for the fans, or it's for the tribute bands. But Queen and Brian has this magic that you can enjoy it in 2, 3, 4 different levels and enjoy the song the same. It's like I've been playing this stuff for a long time, as I mentioned you, and I'm still learning songs. Yesterday, I decided to learn Good Old Fashioned Love of All. I never played that, but I wanted to learn a new song with a new style, with a new approach. And having here one Tiki Amp, I decided to use the Tiki Amp to learn the thing. And I went for the fourth level. Okay, I want to learn the details, I want to learn the song, I want to learn the solo, and I want to learn the little tricky mystery details in 2 days. Why? Because it's what I used to learn. I've been working in a guitar course that is called the Royal Way, and the Royal Way is how I learned to play the guitar, and it's playing Queen songs. If you want to learn the D chord, you can learn the D chord. You can play a camp song, or you can play Crazy Little Thing Called Love. And you will learn the same D chord, but you're learning it through music that you love, that you know, and that you can enjoy right now. Otherwise, you're playing a D chord over nothing. D, 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 D.
Yeah,
D,
right. Very cool. Very cool.
So this was my method.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned you got a Tiki amp.
I got a replica, yeah. You want to see that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, a Tiki is Brian's little secret weapon that he uses for all his harmonies and his overdubs. And it is something that their bass player, John Deacon, built out of a trash store. Wow, look at that.
Yeah. It is great, by the way. It's handmade.
Who makes those?
A friend of mine here in Spain. Look at this. Look at the details. It's great.
Runs off a 9-volt battery.
Yeah. So he mentioned that he was like building these kind of stuff and asked for some beta testing. And I say, okay, I'm in. And he sent me this one, and sounds great. It's like, it is an obscure object, but there are more and more information online, so you can try your own approach, and even not being perfect. It gives you the chance to explore the tiny amp situation. And the good thing about to have a tiny amp like this is that you can put everything on 10. You can put a carpet over that, or you can put whatever, a blanket or whatever to keep things in a good volume. But it's super fun, and it mixes great. It mixes great when you are recording.
So as you were grabbing that, you pulled your headphones out. I just started saying to the viewers that, in case they didn't know what a Tiki amp is, that it was something that John Deacon, the bass player from Queen, actually built for Brian out of parts he found in a dumpster somewhere. Is that the story? Do you know much about the actual original?
He used an ELAC speaker, an all vintage 60s ELAC speaker, and he feed part of a PCB that he found at the garbage working back home. He saw he was an electric oriented guy, so he found a part of a PCB of a South African radio and got this PCB and said, okay, it looks like an amplifier. I will fit inside of one of my hi-fi speakers that I have at home, and I have an amp.
Wow. And that's the amp that Brian used on all his harmony overdubs, yeah?
Yeah, because if you try to do harmonies with a Vox AC30, after 3 of them, let's see, to play a triad, everything turns messy. It's great to do harmonies with a AC30 for 3 notes harmony. It's great. You have the root here, the third and the fifth, and it goes very well. Sounds aggressive, sounds big, sounds punchy. But what if you need to do something that is soft or delicate, or to be just under the main vocal? Because if you're doing harmonies with the Vox AC30, you will kick the middle of the mix. But if you need something subtle under the main, the Freddy's vocals, you need something that has no big bottom on it. So you need a smaller speaker in this case. Or you need to prepare, let's say, 15 or 20 tracks, harmony tracks, do different things. You need something that has no big character as the AC30 has. So they came with this solution, and they started doing this. And if you listen Good Company, for example, you have all that big one, all that is the Tiki, all tracks.
Yep. And there is something about small amplifiers, they just fit into the mix, like you say. They don't take up all that space. He's already got the AC30s taking up the big space. You want something to fill the holes, fill the gaps, and that's his secret weapon.
It is, and it works. And I used tiny amps for a long time. It's the first chance to use something like the real deal. But I had a tiny smoky amp. I remember the smoky amp that was so small that fit into a cigarette packet. So you have one there. I think that they were Australian, or I missed something. They were made in Australia.
Were they? I don't think so. This one has Japanese writing on it. I bought this in Japan.
No, really? No. I think that there was the original ones were made in Australia, but I'm not sure about that. So I got one of these, the one that is not inside of a cigarette box.
Proudly made in USA.
Oh, wow. Probably made in the USA now? Okay, well, whatever. So I used to use one of these smoky amps as my Tiki amp for a long time.
I've done overdubs with that too, man, and exactly, it just fits perfectly in the mix. And yeah, that was my little secret weapon. So I'm with you on that.
It's not secret anymore now. Not for your fans and not for mine either. But yeah, that was my Tiki, and for a long time I did countless sessions with that. It's like, okay, we have the track ready. Yeah, we need something to fit here in the mix. I took this tiny thing, put a microphone in front of that, and that was it.
So, apart from playing those couple of times with Brian, have you hung out with him socially much?
Well, every time that he came to the We Will Rock You show in Spain, I did my best to spend some time together.
Okay.
Because not just about being my idol, it was like quite an experience to go out to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And I remember the last night, the first season in 2004, and we all went out to a pub that was closer for us. All the people working in the production, and having there Brian having a beer or chatting with us, or it was like quite a moment. After that, we have tried to meet every time that they come to Spain on tour. So yeah, aside the email that there's every 2-3 weeks we mail each other, or I mail him and he replies me during the night because he's a night owl like me. We try to keep like in contact, but we almost see each other on tour. So I'm sure that they will be around when we open the We Will Rock You show here in Madrid again. So this year or next year, it will occur again.
One of the reasons I ask is a friend of mine is a guitar player in an Australian group called the Baby Animals, and the lead singer in his group was married to Nuno Betancourt for about 15 years. Wow. And when she heard that I was playing Brian May in the Queen show, she's like, well, I know Brian, right? I'm like, oh, I figured you probably would through Nuno. And she said, yeah, he is just the loveliest man you will ever meet. She said, been to his house many times for dinner, and he is just lovely. And then she told me a funny story about the first time she ever met him. And it was backstage at Wembley. And I'm not sure if it was the Freddie Mercury tribute concert or not, but she was backstage at Wembley. So I'm not sure if Extreme were playing or not. And Brian walked up to her with one of his white shirts and said, excuse me, do you mind ironing this for me? Thinking that she worked there. And she's like, yeah, I'm Nuno's wife, but yeah, sure. But she just said he's just the loveliest man that you'll ever meet. And every interview that I've seen, he just comes across as just a genuinely nice guy.
He's like, he's amazing.
With all the stuff that's going on globally right now, I may have seen the last Queen show ever. I know I did see the last time they played live. So just before COVID hit,
wow.
They played in my hometown, and I saw the last show before they flew out of Australia, and that's when everything went the way it is. And wow. I don't know if those guys will ever tour again. By the time everything gets back as Queen, that is.
I don't know either. It's like, I really hope so, but there's nothing sure. I really hope so because I know him, I know Roger, and I know that music kept them doing what they do and feeling young and feeling passionate about things. I don't know what can happen if an animal like this, you take the stage out of him. So I really hope for the better that they will be on tour as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. It's just so uncertain times for everybody in that whole scene, and I hope that isn't the last one. But the last time they actually have played without any future shows, I got to see them. It was mind blowing, man. I met Pete before the show, Pete Melandrone, just quickly.
Yep.
A friend of mine knows Pete. Was tied in with the whole Optima Maxima strings. And so I got to meet him, and it'd be really nice if they're back out the road. But mind-blowing show, mind-blowing, absolutely.
Yeah, love them.
Now, you mentioned before the OMEC teleport, and you brought that out.
Yep.
That brings me to you as a designer and on gear.
Okay.
How did you mentioned that you had your own preamps and things?
Yeah,
How did you
it's
start
like
messing with gear?
necessity. I was on tour with a big Latin artist called La Quinta Estación, and we were doing a national tour in Spain, and we were in Barcelona, and I was on tour with my Vox AC30 Brian May signature edition, amazing, uber expensive, and everything. And someone connected to the wrong electrical phase, so we had a fridge noise on my amp.
No.
Yeah, before the show, sound check running, and Danny's sound. So I said, okay, we need to do something. And I used to have a tiny gizmo to practice on the band for long trips and everything. And I say, okay, I got the PA tech and say, you know what? We will use these. I won't tell anybody, and you won't tell anybody, but we will use this $30 shitty thing to save the show, and we won't mention this. Okay. And after that show, I say, you know what? We need something like this, but professional. Okay, and I started experimenting with different things, and I released a unit, but just for my personal use. So I create one unit, and I started touring with that unit with no backup because it was like bulletproof. After 1 year probably using it, everybody started asking me, especially Queen tribute bands in Spain and some UK ones. It was a black box with 3 knobs, gain, tone, and volume, and a switch. That's it. It was a little bit more complicated in that first incarnation, but well, 3 knobs and the truth. But it sounded great directly to the front of the house. You don't need a speaker, you don't need an amp, you can travel light. So people started using it or as an A plan without using their amp, or as a B plan. If everything fails or everything explodes, I only have to turn this thing on and I can save the day.
Cool.
One way or another, it became uber popular. We sold around 500 units of that. That for a tiny guy like me, 500 units is crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah. So handmade, shipped from my home, one by one, card box, and yeah, everything done by me in a way. After all these years, we decided to bring the original spirit back with this unit, that is the TAE preamp, that is basically the same unit that we released 10 years ago, but with an extra preamp output. So you can use it with your input responses if you're into this modern technology.
Cool.
You can use its own emulated output that is analog, or you can use the preamp output to your amp's effects return, or power amp in, or to an audio interface to your laptop or to your iPad or whatever, and you can run input responses or cabinet emulation by whoever. And it was great. It evolved to different incarnations since then. We have the classic TAE one. We had the 1964. The Brian has one of each. The 1964 was a luxury limited edition with a big enclosure and some little details. But as far as I experimented, the original one was the best sounding unit. So we brought all the spirit back with same schematics, the same procedures. Everything is handmade. For the finish, is laser engraved. I don't know if you can check it out, but it's engraved by laser.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like laser engraved. All the details are being taken in good consideration. So we released that. Became a huge success because we were finishing the last limited edition that we did with Blues Saraceno. I don't know if you remember Blues, but after Brian May, he was my second biggest influence.
Oh, really?
So we created as Blues Saraceno signature TAE preamp based on his famous Dirty Boy amp. So I got in contact with his father, Alex, that was who developed the Dirty Boy amp for him. And we got the rights, we got the name, we got the tiny volley punchy guy.
Yeah.
And we put the amp into a pedal, and it was a blast. We sell them all and turn into absolutely collectible pedal. Blues has 4 of them, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy because we did it all without having access to the amp, because the amp was in LA and we were in Europe, but we found clips, we found little info, we worked very hard, and we put the Dirty Boy amp into a preamp. So after that limited edition, we came with the 10th anniversary version, that is the one that I showed you, and we're working the next models, but this is selling like crazy. It's like between Queen tribute bands, studios, and this type of stuff. It's working very, very well.
Wow. And what brand name were you releasing those under?
We have 2 companies. We have a company in Spain that produces tours that is called Toxic Prod. And we have this company, Massive Unity. You can check it out. Massive Unity is based in Brighton, and it's a company here. We have that way. Yeah, Massive Unity Ltd. That is based in Brighton, and it's our company for technology consultancy services and this type of stuff. So we release our own designs through Massive Unity, or we license them to third-party companies today to manufacture and selling and everything.
Okay. And
so yeah, Massive Unity, TAE, 10th anniversary preamp.
Nice. I'm gonna have to try and have a listen to some of those. Try and source them in Australia. There's probably not many of those in Australia. Interesting you say Blue Saraceno is a big influence. He's somebody that I used to see a lot in magazines when I was younger, but yep. I have in recent times seen a few videos, and yeah, great player. Awesome.
He was, and he is, and he moved from the guitar hero scene to the TV and film composer role. That is something that I like and respect, and people can still enjoy his music through another channel. I used to love him. I have 2 or 3 of his guitar here in my studio, and having the chance of working with him and his dad, that is again a crazy inventor like Brian and his dad, that wrote his own technology when nobody could feel the necessity of them. They brought something new. So it's something in my style in a way. So we brought that new Blue Saraceno TAE preamp, and was a blast. And I was super proud. And we met him at NAMM, and he blind test the unit without no previous experience, no previous nothing. He tried the prototype and say, hell yeah, it sounds like the amp.
Cool. That's awesome. So, OMEC.
Okay, that's a good story.
What is OMEC?
Okay, OMEC is a 70s division from Orange Amplifiers, UK-based brand, Uber amp maker.
Yep.
In the 70s, they released, believe it or not, the first digital amp ever, 1975. Nobody knows about this, but
first digital, did you say?
Yeah, digital amp.
Wow.
Digital, yeah, analog amp, digital managed pods, but digital amp. They released under the OMEC brand, Orange Music Electronic Company, OMEC.
Okay.
So, long story short, I will try to keep this short because it's quite long. But 6 years ago, I became partially deaf. This year, 30 dBs down in 1K.
Oh no.
1K, 30 dBs.
Yep.
Horrible. So I thought that I would never be touring again. So I decided to design something.
How did that happen?
Nobody knows.
Not loud music or loud guitar?
No music related. It was some kind of sort of infection or something after the timpanis. So I couldn't hear properly anything. Imagine that you play an F chord and you cannot hear the F. you're only hearing A and C. So instead of an F major, you're hearing an A minor.
Oh, wow.
That drama level. So I hate needles, believe it or not. I hate needles. So I needed something to think about while I was connected to a machine, trying to send some antibiotics to my left ear. So I dictated the schematics and the functions and everything to my wife, Martha, and say, okay, take this idea, because I created something to play with my iPad at home while I cry and remember the best of times. We got that schematics, we did the prototype, and we moved to NAMM. We decided to go to NAMM to have some meetings and try to license this idea to a good company, because I was sure that I could handle the TAE production, because 500 units is something that you can do by your own in a way. But in order to bring these teleport, or well, it wasn't called teleport by then, but it was called the M1N1, like Mini with M and N and two ones, the M1N1 interface. We needed a big company that could mass produce it and sell them all over the world. So we went to NAMM. We are that crazy Latin people, so we went to NAMM, and we to attend meetings and try to do some demo work, try to be well known by companies. It's like, okay, we were invited by Fender, but the same day we got a meeting with Optimus Strings to do some Brian May style demos for them. And we met Manson Guitars, the company that is now owned by Matt Bellamy. We met Manson Guitars team. They recognized me because they built me a Matt Bellamy guitar back to the day. And they asked me to do the unveiling of the Matt Bellamy, the core Matt Bellamy guitar. So I did the Matt Bellamy guitar unveiling for Guitar World, for all the media, with my prototype, Guitar World, with my prototype. That was crazy. But nobody seemed like interested in this tiny audio interface. I follow up, keep doing my thing. When I came back to Madrid, I said, okay, I will go to NAMM every year because everything happens there.
Yep.
And keep on with the woodwork, with the TAE, and trying to keep the M1N1 audio interface as tiny as possible. We reduces its size.
Yeah.
And we came back to the NAMM the year after that. I did a lot of demos, like 25 demos. It was crazy. But about my audio interface, everything was slowed down. After that, same year, the Manson guitar team offered me to demonstrate the new Matt Bellamy guitars, the drone ones, the camo green ones. So I used that with my audio interface. Everything went great. And we had an amazing dinner with all the Orange staff, but Manson staff, and it was chill and great. But after that, in February, I received a call to do the Birmingham Guitar Show with Manson Guitars. And while I was doing my demos for Manson Guitars, we met with the Orange team. We went for an amazing Indian dinner. We started chatting, and they said, well, we saw your demo. It was great. You played great. Thank you very much. You used our combos, but you didn't use our preamps. You're connected with something directly to the power amp. So you're using basically as power amp speakers. Why is that? You don't like our preamps or what? So you have any problem with that? I say, no, I have my own device and I use visual preamps with analog power amps. And say, oh, wow, that sounds good. And say, okay. Why if you come back tomorrow to our booth and we have a chat about this? I'm all in, thank you. And we have a chat, we change our business cards and everything. And a week after that, I received an email inviting us to the Orange headquarters in London for a meeting with Orange CEO, Cliff Cooper, the founder and CEO of Orange. We had a meeting there, we had an agreement for licensing the idea to Orange Amplifiers, and that was it. And after that, we spent 2 years working together, polishing little details, preparing the marketing, getting artists on board, like Steve Vai received one, Brian May received one, Guns N' Roses, Richard Fortune received one, many more. And we prepare everything to be ready for that. We released that 2 years and a half ago. It went very well. It was super new. It was something mind-blowing in a way, because it's class compilant you can use with Mac, PC, iOS, Android, whatever, with an USB connector, you go. And work with every software available. And the good thing is being designed by a musician for musicians. So you have the right impedance, you have a buffer, you have a splitter, everything in this tiny box.
Wow.
So it can help you in many ways.
Yeah.
So after being working on that for that long time, was kind of relief to have it out. We spent the rest of that year working together, and the next Christmas, they offered me to enroll officially as a consultant for the brand, sales, marketing, and artist relations consultant for Orange. And after 1 year working in that role, recently got offered to join the product manager position for OMEC. So I'm a consultant at Orange, where everything is designed by Ade Emsley, the legendary Ade Emsley. So I'm a consultant in Orange and product manager and designer at OMEC at the same time.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
So I wanted to ask you about the teleport, because you said that was designed as an interface so that you could use digital gear with the analog gear.
Yeah.
I first became aware of it only recently through Vladimir at Cat Pick Studios. Did a quick demo on it. Yeah.
Yep.
And you say you got it out to all these big people, right? And it's a small guy like Vladimir that brought it to my attention. And I love Vlad. He's a cool dude. And he was using it as a reamping interface.
You can do that, yeah.
I've tried reamping years before, and I had the radial DIs for the in and the out, but I was always confused about the levels that I was hitting my amp at. Like when I was playing it back, it's like, how loud should I have this? Is this what the amp's expecting to see? And that kind of put me off, because I wasn't 100% sure that was the same as me just plugging a guitar in. With the teleport, does that have an automatic adjustment of levels so that?
In a way, yeah. It is that well suited that everything goes smoothly. It's like, okay, you connect that to the output of your computer when you have the dry guitar, and it works. It's like right impedance and a buffer, so you're not losing anything, and your amp is receiving what your amp is expecting. That is your question. So yeah, it's that easy. Vladimir put that very well together on the video, and it was that easy.
I need one of these, man. I need to get one of these. I actually, after I saw Vlad's video, I went and asked one of the local music stores, and they just looked at me and went, "A what?" And I was
what?
"Oh man, it's Australia for you." They just
anywhere in the world that sells Orange, they can get you one. For you, to your audience, it's like not every distributor has all the product line and something legit, but they're able to get you anything in a way.
Okay. So OMEC Teleport, if you're looking for an easy to use solution, reamping is what I was interested in, but as you were saying, just a general in and out so that you can use analog front end with digital back end or vice versa.
Or you can get, something for I use it a lot is to get polyphonic MIDI with no MIDI pickup through software. That is amazing.
How?
You like that one. Using Jam Origin MIDI guitar. There is a software and an app. You can use it for your computer and your laptop, your computer or your iPad or wherever. So it turns digital audio into polyphonic MIDI. This is it.
This is
you need
software.
A software and an app. You can use it for your laptop or for your iPad or iPhone or wherever. But you need the right interface. If you use a general purpose interface, probably it won't be turning turning all your subtle nuances into MIDI. So technically you can use whatever audio interface you want because it's not linked directly to have a OMEC teleport unit. But if you have a unit with the right impedance and a buffer, you will get every little detail transferred to that. And I will did the best testing of the app, and I got some hidden gems into the app itself by my request. So there's a very good relationship with that brand. And I use that with the OMEC teleport, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. With amazing tracking, better than the Roland pickups, better than the Fishman triple play. And the best thing is that you don't need to install anything on your guitar because it works with your jack. Even better, you can get polyphonic MIDI over a wireless unit. You can connect a wireless unit to your guitar and the receiver here, and you get polyphonic MIDI over a wireless. That is something that you cannot do with the Roland or with the Fishman.
Get the fuck out of here. Really, man? Really?
So when I came with the interface idea, I decided, okay, I will reach the best software companies and say, you know what? I have something that will take the ball out of the park. If you want to join me in this, leave me try your software, and I will let you know if it works or not. I did that with Jam Origin. I did that with Rolly. We did that with Amplitude. That when you purchase the OMEC teleport, you get Amplitude Custom Shop Orange CS Edition. So you get free virtual Orange amps and caps. So for the ultimate bundle. So I tried everything with every software and prepared the teleport to work the best with every software. It's like, okay, if you use, I don't know, positive grid bias, there's no way to get a better playing experience than using the OMEC teleport. Now I have another interface, it's great. Maybe you have a desktop interface. Maybe you have an amazing Apollo interface, but your Apollo interface is prepared to record whatever. I connect a voice, you're good. I connect a keyboard, you're good. I connect a guitar, you're good. But the teleport is prepared to record guitars and basses at the studio, on the road, wherever. It's powered with 9 volts like in any other pedals. And it simply sounds better for guitar and bass. It simply sounds better because it's a guitar pedal. And it's designed by a musician, designed by a guitar player, for guitar players.
Wow. Man, when I play small shows, and I've got a typical one tomorrow night, where I live, there's a lot of noise restrictions.
Okay.
And a lot of the small cover band gigs, you're not allowed to use amps. You have to use something direct.
Mm-hmm.
And I use an iPad with Bios Effects. And will that work with an iPad?
Sure. The demo that you see for Amplitude Brian May at NAMM, that was the second day that they asked me to use a laptop. But the first day, I did exactly the same show with an OMEC teleport and my telephone at NAMM. At NAMM for YouTube, it's like if you have any doubt about if it's a reliable system, you won't use it at NAMM. With everybody seeing you there, and I used this rig for the NAMM. For the first day NAMM presentation of the Amplitude Brian May, I used this rig.
Wow. And did you say it's 9 volts? So does it run off a 9 volt battery, or do you have to use an external power supply?
You have to use an external power supply in order to keep things great and absolutely noise free. Yes, we recommend any center negative, like a Boss adapter or wherever it works.
Wow. Guess what I'm going to buy very soon? OMEC teleport. Yeah, man, I need one of those. I thought I needed one as a reamping solution, but so much more. Like I say, I use the small gigs for the small rigs that just use an iPad. That's my way of interfacing analog gear with that as well. So I could feed the output of that directly to front of house rather than giving them that headphone output like I have been on my iPad. Is that right?
Please do that. Please do that. Imagine when you're turning your amazing guitar gear, your amazing guitar, your amazing cables, amazing pedals and everything, and you're using a tiny interface connected through the headphones jack, and all the analog to digital, digital to analog is happening on your iPad nano chip. It's a shitty nano chip that is good for this. It's good for your, we are talking and we're listening to each other. We're good to go with that. But you're connecting, let's say, a $2,000 guitar to a $2,000 pedal board to a shitty nano chip where everything is done analog to digital and digital to analog. So imagine to do that through an amazing Texas Instrument style chip on a professional grade pedal. It's a totally different experience. It's like you can turn the volume up and down. Imagine that you connect your guitar directly to this. If you use the interface that you have now, you have all or nothing, gain or no sound. But if you use something that you can use your volume knob, you have solo level, riff level, crunch level, clean level, or nothing. So it's a totally different experience. You don't have to use the mini jack output anymore. You connect this to the lightning cable or wherever. It includes a USB cable, so you only need the camera adapter that Apple requires for everything. You connect that adapter and you're good to go. You have a professional jack, you have 2 professional jacks out, and that's it. You only have to manage with cables that you know. You don't have to use mini jacks to RCA connectors and crazy things.
Rewind. Two jacks out? Is that a stereo out?
Yeah. Well, it's better than a stereo jack because you can use it. You can use it depending how you're programming your software. Imagine if you don't say anything to the software, it will be L on R. All right, you follow me?
Yep.
Okay. But imagine that you're using Jamorigic MIDI guitar and you pan the things, and you can have your regular guitar here and your synths here. So it's not a stereo out anymore. You can have 2 mono outs with 2 different things happening on every out. Imagine that you have your iPad and you have audio bus. And in audio bus, you can pan things. You can create 2 different strips. One will be your guitar sound, and you can have amplitude variant made, feeding an amazing eventide reverb. Output 1. Output 2 can be your regular guitar tone, guitar directly to the output 2, and it can go to your amp. So you can have your regular amp, and at the same time, your virtual amp. So you can create a wet, dry, wet rig at no cost.
Wow. So, but that would go through a digital conversion to spit it out
the
other side? Yep. Which with good converters now isn't such a big issue, is it? Wow, man.
It is not at all. It's like, and we're talking about an inducted latency, because latency is a chain, as you know. It doesn't depend on just one part of the chain. But we're talking about 3.4 milliseconds, as far as I remember. 3.4 milliseconds. That is nothing.
I'm buying one on Monday. I'm buying one on Monday.
If you feel that you're suffering from latency, you can, for the first time ever, you can turn your interface on and off with a foot switch and see what happens. There's no latency. It's like you can imagine that you have your real amp, amazing amp, your guitar and your amp, and you only want to use a reverb, amazing reverb app that costs, let's say, $10, but amazing reverb app, and you want that reverb app on your amp effects loop. You connect your send here and your return here, and you put the iPad on top of your amp, and when you need the reverb, you click, you have the reverb, you click, you don't have the reverb. So you have a virtual multi-effect unit on your iPad. to be used in conjunction with your analog amp. So there are that many uses that sometimes people get confused because there are many things to do. You can do many things.
That really does open up a lot of doors, man. That really does.
It did to me.
Kudos to you for inventing that, man. That is awesome.
Thanks, mate. It opens a lot of doors. To me, it opened the door to the Premier League. Imagine to me, I'm a self-taught musician, self-taught designer, and self-taught marketing, whatever, because I'm acting as a consultant. So people think that what I'm telling is valuable in a way. But I'm self-taught. Imagine to me to be working with such a team at Orange Amplifiers, mate. It's like, to be honest, it's like,
wow, it's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
It is to me. Every day I have to pinch myself and say, okay, it's real. I'm here in my studio, my incredible studio, and spend half of the day playing the guitar, developing new products, my guitar course, and doing cool related things. On the other half, working as a consultant and product manager for one of the biggest companies ever in this industry is like, it's amazing. I have no clue how it happened. It's like, to be honest, it's like.
Congratulations to you, man. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Yeah. You know, good things happen to good dudes. So you've done something good.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Wow. Is there any other OMEC gear that you want to talk about? Now that you've just blown my mind with the teleport.
I'd love to tell you about more things, but I'm not allowed by now. But you will be the second to know.
Okay.
As soon as I can.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I want to ask you. We've talked about the Red Special. What's your favorite guitar to play that you own that's not a Red Special?
There's not a Red Special. I have 2 or 3 of them that I really love them. I have a Stromberg Boden Original 6 that I really like. It's great to study. It's great to be on tour. It's great to take it on the planes. It's great to take it to NAMM. So Stromberg guitars are amazing. Ole Stromberg is a master and a total reference. So since I got that guitar, I've been trying to implement more and more technology inside of it. Being a tiny guitar, to be able to put more and more technology inside of it is my goal right now.
Okay. I've never played a Stromberg. Does it take much to get used to that neck?
No. It's like 2, 3 minutes.
Have you got it there? Like, if people don't know what I mean, have you got it just there that you can show people?
Yeah, you want to
please.
take it?
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah. So, those that don't know, a Stromberg neck is kind of squarish, hexagonal, twisted, like you're about to see right now as Danny comes back.
Here we are.
Okay. Very strange shape, but very ergonomic, I assume. Like, would be very comfortable.
Yeah, this cut is ready to be on your lap if you want. So you can have your lap here or your lap here.
Yeah, cool.
Can basculate. Aside that, it's pretty standard. It's like, if you don't see this big cut, if you imagine a regular body shape, it's a regular body shape. It's like, it could be, I don't know, something like a VJ guitar or some Ibanez guitar in a way. So if you imagine this non-cut body, it could be something really standard. The non-headstock is something that I really like it. And the back of the neck, that is something that we've been talking about. Now you see with the reflection.
Yeah.
The end of the neck.
It's like half a hexagonal shape.
Yeah, exactly. And why is this? As you can check, it is moving all around from the middle position to the up register position. So it's not in the middle all the time. That is made to force in a good way your hand to be moving its position, as you can check. You
cool.
see?
Yeah.
Here is prepared to do these things to get an amazing access to don't having to force it in any way. And this way is on top to be ready for chords and this type of thing. I really like this guitar. Really, really like it. Especially this model. That is the model that started everything, the original.
Okay. Awesome.
Roasted maple, yeah. Luminaire side dots, so it's great
Yep.
for live shows.
Yep.
Good pickups, yeah, they're great. It's my second best. It's like I have these, I have 2 or 3 red specials here with me. I have a couple of blue Saraceno guitars, and that's it. I don't have a big collection, and I don't have like uber expensive things. I have things that I use, and that's it.
Yep. Still hunting for that one special guitar myself, man. Yeah, I might spend a bit of money and get something really nice, but yeah, I've got a few behind me there. You probably see. Oh, that's my main. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I tell you what, I do play a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen these. This.
Ooh, never saw that.
There is an amplifier. It would have helped if I tuned it, but there's an amplifier built into that.
Oh wow!
And
It's crazy.
preamp effects. There's a new updated control section of that coming out real soon. This is what I use around the house all the time. Electrophonic is the company in LA that make these, and this one is called the Guitar Modillo, based on their Model 1. It's got a scratch-proof coating on it.
Oh wow!
And I had a friend over today, and we were just blowing out how low the action and everything is on it. This is what I play around the house. I would really like to get one of these without the electronics, so I could just use at gigs. But other than that, I'm a Strat guy.
Yeah,
Love my Strats. And
love it, mate.
yeah, that's a really cool guitar, man.
It is.
Yeah, something different. I like it when people come up with new things, you know, and the concept of having an amp built into a guitar is not something new. I had one of those Fernandez's back in the 90s, and it was terrible. But that is like a really nice playing guitar with amp, stereo effects, and yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it actually has an input on there so that you can play your smartphone, play backing tracks through it.
Okay.
So you could do a small gig and not have to take.
It's completely my kind of thing.
Yeah, I live in a little shopping centre, and there's a cafe just downstairs, and I'd love to just go down there and use my phone to play backing tracks and just jam, sit in the corner. Don't need to bring a PA. It's enough. It's loud enough to fill the room. It's really loud.
Wow!
Yeah.
Love it.
Really cool those. Yeah. But Strandberg, I really want to try one of those. Earlier on, we had a question from, I'm not sure if he's still watching, Pete Trajkovsky, who wanted to know, what gear have you regretted selling?
I used to have a Relic Red Special. I really love it, that one.
And-
Very Relic.
Yeah. Was it
Love that
Relics?
one.
Was it Relics based on Brian's Red Special, like to be the same?
It was based in the Back to the Light era that was almost destroyed in that era. So I ordered a very special unit with all the damages that show it at the Back to the Light era. That was the first time that I actually see the guitar in front of me in real life.
Cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. Man, have you ever played the real Red Special?
No, I never played that. I handled that this way for a minute.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
Trying to think who it was. I've talking to somebody who said, "Oh man, I've played it, and it's a pig."
I never had the chance. I really hope to do that someday.
Apparently, the neck is wider than on the Brian May brand Red Special.
It is. I had 2 or 3 different Red Special all over the years with the original neck, original measures and everything. and it's a baseball bat. I really love it, but it's a baseball bat.
I don't mind a big neck. I got used to the wider one because I had the Brian May Red Special when I was doing the Queen show, and I got used to the wideness and using the coin. It's just, you get used to anything. You know, some people say, oh no, I like the skinny neck or like the fat neck. I think you can adapt to anything.
Yeah.
Like that crazy.
I really like big necks, and I think that it helps with the tone. It transfers better. It's like a highway.
Speaking of tone, I didn't ask you what gauge strings you were using on the Red Special.
The original used to have 8 to 32 or something like that.
Yeah.
Later, Brian moved to 9 to 42. That are the ones that he uses right now. The Signature Optima set, and I use 10 to 46.
Okay.
On every guitar.
I tried 8s for the first time recently. I struggled with a bit of tendonitis over the last few years, and a friend of mine gave me a set of 8s to try. Because I tried his guitar one day and just went, man, this plays really well, but the action's not that low. And he goes, yeah, 8s. And he's a little bit older than me, and he said, oh, everyone back in the 70s, man, we all used 8s. And I don't think the tone suffered like I thought it would, and it was super easy to play. If I could find more sets of 8s around here, I'd probably still use them.
I'm really tempted to move the Red Special from 10s to 9s, but I need to think about it a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe I will move one of them to 9s, and I will think about it. Yeah,
I think 9s is that happy medium. That's what I think. Yeah, I've just gravitated back towards. I've still been chasing a Strat style guitar with a Floyd Rose again. I've been wanting to get.
Well, I hate Floyd Rose. I cannot play with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's something animal. It's like I really hate the micro tuner things on my hand. It's like, oh my god, or change the strings or whatever. I suffer a lot.
For me, a big part of why I want one for my gigging guitar is that if you break a string, you can just put it back on. Because you cut the ends off and they bolt in. Yeah, so I don't really rust strings very much. My sweat isn't very acidic, so my strings last a long time, especially if I'm using elixirs. And if I break them on a normal one, it's like, oh, man, that was, where do I get another Floyd Rose? Just put it back on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I really want to try a Strandberg like you got there, man. That looks so cool. And I really want to get a Red Special again. I kind of regret selling my one. So that might be something. Speaking of Amplitube and the Brian May collection that they've got there, there's another company that makes a bit of a knockoff of the Brian May Red Special that were about to send me one of their guitars, and I was going to do a demo. I was going to put on the wig and everything and get into character, use a green screen. I've got a big green screen there, and do a demo using the Amplitube pack, but of that particular brand. But they were, we're sending it. You should get the thing from the shipping department. And I just chased them up recently, and they said because of COVID that that's really, they can't ship anything at the moment. So that's a shame.
And what is that? What is that company?
Harley Benton.
Harley Benton. Okay.
Yeah. They have the BM75, bit of a knockoff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I never played it, but they were sending one for me to do a demo of. They're very YouTuber friendly in terms of do a good demo for them. I did send them some of my other work, and they went, hell yeah, we'll like one of those, please.
Great.
Yeah, but unfortunately they're not shipping at the moment because of the whole COVID situation.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's a few things out of Germany I haven't been able to get lately because of that, but that's these times, man. That's these times. Danny, is there anything else you want to mention while I have you here, folks? If anyone's watching there and wants to ask any questions, now would be a good time to speak now or forever hold your peace.
I think that we cover pretty every basis. I feel wow, it's quite a trip. It's like when I have this kind of interviews is when I'm conscious again about how this 20 plus 25 years trip has been. It's like, oh, it's quite a trip. No, I think I only want to say thank you for having me, and thanks for your interest and your time, and bring me back to why I started everything, because otherwise you keep on moving and you probably forget about why did you start with this thing in the first place, if it makes any sense. It's like,
Yep.
until you stop and spend, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hour talking with a new friend, you are not connected to the original idea of playing the guitar. It's like, okay, why I started? Okay, I started this way, and what gear? Okay, I use this gear. Otherwise, you just leave the day, and you tend to forget about the important things. So thank you very much.
Well, Danny, as I said to you before we started, I don't prepare questions going into these. And I said to you, I have a whiteboard on my lap, and as you're talking, I take notes so that I ask you questions about what you're already talking about. That way it goes a bit deeper than what you might have thought, and you start to remember those things. But thank you so much for your time. Folks, if you're listening to this, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to listen to it on a podcast, I've just hooked up everything so that you can find me on all the usual podcasting sites. Vice versa, if you are listening to this on a podcast and you'd rather see our faces as we do this, jump on over to YouTube, youtube.com/C/Rick Hollis is where you will find me. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed over there and hit the notification bell. That way you know when we're doing these live, and you can ask us questions in the chat room. I see Jay's still there from the UK Foo Fighters. If you guys are into the grunge, go back and watch a few episodes back, because I had Jay from UK Foo Fighters with John from Nirvana Tribute, and Mikey and Matt from Outshined, the 90s grunge tribute. That was a really cool episode. So you'll find all those. You'll find them either on my YouTube podcast. We're around. Finish it off. I'll say thank you again. I've got my end button, and when I hit the end button, it goes like this. You ready, Danny? Let's do it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, bye.